people will say, well, when did God start this work in me? He started it before the foundation of the world. And I know many people will say, well, I believe he started when I got saved, but I want to tell you, God knew you before you got saved. He knew you before you became deacon so-and-so. He knew you before you was a growing in a word teacher. He knew before you had a minister or either danced on the dance team or sung on the praise team. Or he knew you before you ever got here and gave your life to him. God not only knew you before you got here, but God already had a purpose for your life. Oh my God, I got to take a break here because I want you to understand everyone is significant in the eyesight of God. Everybody, I don't care who you are, how small you are, what kind of job you got, where you grew up in, what side of town you grew up on. It don't matter what function you operate in the church. Everybody have a keen responsibility in the eyesight of God. I don't believe God created anybody without purpose, without destiny. I just don't believe it myself. I don't know what you believe, but I believe when I got here, before I got here, God had a purpose for my life. How many of you ever found yourself doing something in ministry that you never saw yourself doing? All these ministers and deacons, I guarantee you, if you'd asked them 10 or 15 years ago, do you see yourself behind a pulpit trying to lead a body of people to Christ? You would have told me, oh, no way in the world I'd do nothing. Been pastoring almost 11 years. If you'd have told me 12 years ago I'd be pastoring, I would have told you it's no way in the world. Not that I didn't feel that I was adequate, but I just didn't feel like it was me. I thought somebody else would have been doing this. But God knew me before the foundation of the world. And at your birth was when God began to manifest outwardly what he had created spiritually. Now I'm going to lose about 100 of you right quick right here. Because we don't understand that we are spiritual beings wrapped up in a decaying body. Most of us think we are a body wrapped up in spirit. There's a difference between the two, because the one that is wrapped up in something means it's a shell to the thing that is inside of you. So when you die, when your spirit leaves, your body is still here, but it can't do nothing without the spirit. And so whatever happened in your natural life is a result of your spiritual life. Oh my God, I hope you're getting something out of this. That's why your natural life can never supersede your spiritual life. What you mean, but Pastor? Well, if I was to go to court and I saw two Holy Ghost filled, sanctified, born again believers in the courtroom seeking divorce between their consummate covenant relationship, I see a problem not naturally. I see a problem spiritually. When you look around and you got folks that's been in the church all their life and they still lying, oh, that's not a natural problem. It's a spiritual problem. Manifesting itself outwardly. Anytime you find folks that's always broke, always living from paycheck to paycheck, it's a natural manifestation of an inward struggle, of a spiritual struggle. Because if we follow the word of God according to how it has been presented to us, that means that this blueprint ought to be telling us the truth. If we don't see the truth in our lives, that means something is malfunctioning in our spiritual walk. Always depressed. I'm not talking about hidden depression. I'm talking about always depressed. There's a spiritual problem. And I got to pause right here just for a minute on this depression business, because Many of you may have known I was just entering into the ministry when I was oppressed with depression. Y'all heard what I said? I said oppressed. I didn't say possessed. There's a difference between being possessed with something and being oppressed with something. Sometimes we can let our guards down a little bit too much, and the enemy get a foothold on you, and he don't want to turn you loose. And so the enemy, when he sees that door open, he comes in and oppress you. He put a weight on you that you can't just shake off overnight. Sometimes it takes some prayer. Sometimes you got to go back in your secret closet and pull out your own message that you preach. But my brothers and sisters, I made myself, you know how we make vows to God? I made myself a vow. I said, God, if you ever allow me to come out of this, I promise you I will never go into this again. Oh, yes, I know y'all say, oh, he arrogant. Now, yes, I am arrogant when it comes down to me and being, when I'm a pretty good fighter. And if you knock me in the nose and knock me out, I knew exactly what you did to do it. I knew just what punched you through, and I didn't get out the way fast enough. So when it come time for me to be oppressed again with this same thing, I knew what knocked me in it, so now I stay away from it. See, the problem with most of us is we don't learn what's knocking us down. That's why folks is in the church, out the church, in the church, out, we are in and out because we have not realized that there's a spiritual problem. And anybody that's trying to box the devil with your fist, I want to let you understand something, that you're not fighting a natural fight. I don't care how big you is and how much muscle and how much weight you can lift, you can't defeat this enemy. Never overcame low self-esteem. A natural manifestation of a spiritual problem. Always going back into sin. There's a short circuit in your spiritual life. And don't be fooled. The greater lies in the greatness lies in the supernatural and manifests itself in the natural. God didn't predestine you before the foundation of the world, called you before the foundation of the world, formed you in your mother's womb and sanctified you before the foundations of the world so that you can live in defeat. God, if God thought enough of us to choose you and to set you apart, I want to explain to you, God is going to finish what he started. Oh yeah, he's going to finish it. Can I tell you why the reason for our struggle? Can I just? The reason we are struggling with the enemy right now is because we have crossed the line of religiosity. We've crossed the line of traditionalism. We've crossed the line of denominationalism. Come on now. As long as the enemy can keep us religious and traditional and denominational, meaning that our denomination is better than yours, we're going to heaven and y'all going to hell. We can't fellowship with y'all because y'all believe this and we believe that. As long as he can keep that kind of division in the church, we become powerless. Whether we know it or not, this is a trailblazing church. We're not religious folks. We're relational folks. We understand the power of relationship. We're not traditional. We are extraordinary people.